it's a little bit late, but it's actually not too bad, because with the theme of today's episode, with it starting at 1805, I don't think that's too sad at all, because I've been on something of a kick recently to print some Napoleonic ships, and I thought we'd have a look at some naval goodness. Now, I'm hoping that this one is going out live, because I did start earlier on and it did not. So, yes, people are talking in the chat now. That's good, because I was worried that it still hadn't gone live. So what I did before was I did it as unlisted, because I am an idiot. Yes, you would think I know what I'm doing by now, but I don't. So we're going to stream till about 7 o'clock today. My brother has very kindly bought me tickets to go and see Indiana Jones 5 later on, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, I am beyond thrilled with. So, no. I know he wants to go see it, and I'm not too sad. So what I wanted to look at today is I've got two ships here that I've printed. I wanted to have a quick review of those. That's these ones over here. This is one of the Warlord plastic ones. So I wanted to have a quick run through that one. And then I wanted to have a look at this bad boy, which I have also just printed. So this one is a Zebek. I'm going to need some cannons for this, but we'll talk about this later on. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is, you're going to have to excuse me as well, because at the moment I am not able to see much chat-wise. I can see the Bub Creature is painting his AB stuff. I am super jealous, because I absolutely love AB miniatures. They look absolutely phenomenal for the scale. Hello, guys. Hello, Chesbury. Who else have we got? Glenn Wilson. Hello. Andreas. Hello. Barry Tuned. Hello. Bub Creature and Andrew Birdsell. Hello to you both. Indiana Jones Command Rating 9. Lucky Escape Special. Units Brigade automatically. Only if they're in a fridge, though. They only get 2+ save if they're in a lead-lined fridge. Now, these ones here, these two ships are an unusual one, because they are ships that I'd never heard of before, or at least one of them was anyway, because they are, I'm stalling for time here, they certainly are French. If anyone can let me know before I can get the name of the ship up, then you win a prize. It is, yes, it is, Andrew. It is indeed for Black Seas. The ship is the, anyone, you got 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. It is the Commerce de Marseille. Now, this one is the lead class of its ship, but it is perhaps better known as l'Orient. So this is the one that fought at the Battle of the Nile and then spectacularly exploded. Now, looking at the print here, I've got two different prints. They're the same ship, but the difference is this one has got its, where's my brush? Big lean. This one here has got all its portholes closed, so it's not got any cannons sticking out. It's got the ones at the top here, but the ones down here, they're all nice and closed up. This one here, though, which I think is far better, this one is at quarters, so all the guns have been run out on both sides, and that one is ready for action. So I'm going to paint this one as l'Orient, and I'm going to paint this one as the Commerce de Marseille. So those are the plans for that one. Now, looking at the prints themselves, so the fact that we've got all the cannons and the portholes open look absolutely fantastic. We've got some little cannons up here. These will probably be 12-pounders. These will be 24s, and these will be 36s down here. We've got some cannons up on the deck as well. Lovely. We've got the forecastle there. That's looking quite nice. And then we've got the bowsprit and the masts. Now, one thing that I would say about these is the masts are very badly warped, particularly on this one. Let me get it so you can see straight on. So you can see the masts aren't lined up. They're bent over. The spars, that's these here, or the yard arms, they've curled up at the ends as well. So this could be a bit of a problem, but it's not going to be, because when I rig the ship, I'm going to pull the cotton, and that's going to pull all of the masts square. The fact that these are resin is an additional bonus. The ones that Warlord Games provide for the l'Orient, they are metal masts. Now, some of you may have seen, sorry, I just noticed this little clip here. Some of you will have seen my USS Constitution that I used in the battle report with Rear Admiral Dan. One of the problems with the metal masts is they bend. And they bend ever so slightly, but that is enough to make the rigging go slack. You can see on this plastic one here that the rigging is nice and taut. You've got the cotton here. Okay, see, it's not ridiculously taut, but it holds it all up in place. It's not sagging, whereas on the Constitution, it might be down like that, and it looks a little bit crap. So that's one of the positives about printing your own. Not only is it much, much cheaper, but it's also, in this case, I think actually a better model, a better experience. Now, I was trying to look it up on here. So I do these in the attic, and I'm quite far away from even my boosted modem. Let me have a look down here. No, I'm not going to be able to get it up at the moment, but hopefully before the end of the video, I will be able to tell you where I got them from. It was from Wargaming 3D, which is a website that sells STLs. And I'm trying to remember who made them and how much they cost. I think they were once part of a Kickstarter for, I think it was called Blood and Sails or something like that. But yes, no, they're very good. And what I'm looking at doing in the not too distant future is we'll have another battle report, another naval one, and it'll be the Battle of Macau. Now, when I lived in Hong Kong for a while, I never actually got to go to Macau. Well, I'd say I didn't get to go to. I was asked if I wanted to go, but I couldn't really afford it. It'd be like going to Las Vegas with no money to gamble. So that's why I didn't go to Macau. But there was a battle off the coast of Macau between the the Spanish and French fleets combined, and the British. So hopefully General Dan and I will be able to do that. Now, one of the other things I found with the printing is this mast here is going to be in mucho trouble. That's not looking great, but it's not necessarily the end of the world, because you can always do it as a damaged mast or something like that. So it's not necessarily the end of the world. You can perhaps bend it back, but that might be a little bit too much of an ask. That is at a very bad angle. Mark has been to Macau, beautiful place. I missed out. Yes, no, I did. If I get to go back to Hong Kong again, Macau is definitely on the to visit list, especially as there's now a bridge apparently that goes from Hong Kong to Macau. I mean, yeah, it's quite a long way, but I certainly wouldn't put anything past them. Yeah, no, I can totally believe that they've managed to do that. So, having looked at the prints, they're pretty good. I'd love to recreate a Beijing fleet from the first Sino-Japanese war at this scale. Alas, I don't have a 3D printer. I'm sure someone will do, or perhaps you can look on Etsy. We've got that in the UK. That's very good for prints. The back here, the stern, that's absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to painting all the details here of the staterooms. You've even got the little lanterns on the back there. If you've seen Master and Commander, you'll remember that they have the small boats and then they put out the lamps. Speaking of small boats, I've also printed some of those. So what I'm going to have is, maybe not on L'Orient, but maybe on the Commerce de Marseille, is I can have, wrong way around, I can have a couple of boats like this that are in front of it, and they can be pulling it when there's a little wind for it to go. So I can have, say, the two there, maybe one slightly in front, and then they can be pulling the ship. You know, again, not necessarily for any particular reason, but just because it'll look cool on the base, I think, and just add a little bit more interest, and we can see what's going on. Right, aha! My modem has finally managed to find itself, sort of. Let's hope that comes up. I might be able to engage a bit more with the comments, hopefully. So, one of the other downsides, well, I should say actually, sorry, before we go any further, the way I've printed these on the plate is usually what you'll do is you'll have a raft. Now, let me see if I've got one lying around. No, I don't. Normally, you'll have like little legs that stick up, and you'll print at an angle. So if this is the printer bed here, some hedge, that's the printer bed. You'll have the ship on there like this, and there'll be little supports that hold it up that allow it to print. With these, I didn't do that. With these, I just printed them flat on the plate, which means that they've come out really well, but there are two downsides to it. The first one is if you look at the front here, there's little bits of resin. Now I'm gonna snip those off. So it's not necessarily the end of the world, but there is the chance that it could snap and then you'd lose some of the bottom of the hull at the front, which could be a problem. It wouldn't be, because you can just cover it with a little bit of a bow wave. So there we go. I've snipped those off. Absolutely fine. So maybe take small boats near the ship that are in the middle of resupply. That could be cool as well, actually. Yeah, just sort of have them coming in. Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, there's lots of different things you can do, especially particularly at this scale. I've got a lot of stacked boats as well that I've printed off, so these can be on there. I think they go long ways actually, but I can worry about that later. I've also got the anchors that I've printed. I remember as a kid going to, I think it was probably Greenwich, and seeing the anchors and being absolutely amazed at how big they were. Let's see, all these are stuck together. There we are. Right. So the anchors, they'll go on the anchor things there at the front. So I've got plenty of those. So happy days with that one. The reason why I'm on such a kick for the ships at the moment is I recently went to Boards and Swords in Derby. And the chaps there, massive fans of Napoleonics, really big fans of ships in particular. And they had about 3 cabinets just absolutely full of ships. They looked absolutely awesome. They normally do 2 big battles a year that you can go along and participate in. One is on Trafalgar Day, which is October. I want to say October the 18th, but don't quote me on that one. And the other one is, I can remember the date of this one. The other one is the glorious 1st of June, and that's when the Royal Navy beat the revolutionary French Navy. So those are the 2 big days that they do. They may do other ones as well. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to prep this for painting. Now, I need to do 2 things in order to prep them for painting. The first one is I'm going to put them on a painting stick. So in this case, it is a wine cork glued to a 2p, or just any heavy coin with a bit of wire coming up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill into the bottom here. We'll glue it on there, and it means I can hold the cork while we're painting, and it means I'm not risking damaging the rigging or the sails or anything like that. Now the other thing, and this is the reason why I got this fully rigged one out, is this is one of the really, really good things about Warlord. I'm the first one to criticize Warlord when I think they get something wrong, but I'm also one to give them the praise when they deserve it. And here in the ship, you can see here, and here, there are holes in the side of the ship. I think they're called the scuppers, and that allows you to get the thread through and pull it back up, and it allows you to pull it taut. Now, unfortunately, on this model of L'Orient, there aren't the corresponding holes. Now we can see on here that they're just slightly behind the masts. So I'm going to have to make my own, really. So I have brought up my trusty drill. There you go, I came prepared. And I'm going to have to guess roughly where I want them to be. Now, the problem is at the front here, at the back, I've got this rail. Now, I don't really want to put it through the rail, but I think I'm going to have to. Here is a little bit better. I've got quite a big wall there. It's probably about 3mm. So I'll be able to drill a hole through there quite nicely. And at the front, the forecastle, I've not really got much there. So I'm going to have to drill. I'll start off here. I can either drill between those 2 guns there or these 2 guns here. I think those 2 are a little bit too far forward. So I'm going to have to drill back here. So I'm going to make a little hole, pilot hole first. And then I'm going to drill through. Now, I need to do this very slowly, very carefully, because the last thing I want to do is snap the resin. I really, really don't want to do that. That would be the big sad. So let's see if I can get this through here. I've got the Citadel butt plug. I also call it the butt plug. There's that spanking stick that they brought out as well that you're supposed to hold the models with or something. But yes, it's quite clearly a BDSM spanking stick. I would imagine. I've heard about such things. I don't know what they are. So this is always scary. Oh, I'm glad it's not just me. Oh, there was a bit too much movement there for my liking. Oh, there we are. Right, so we are through. So it looks like that's going to be okay. He said, excuse me while I just blow this off. Giggity. There we go. So we can see there's a little hole through there. Oh, there we are. Now you can see here, or you might be able to, I'm not sure what the light's like. You can see that it's very white at the top here. Now that's not drill dust. That is where the resin has had the pressure applied to it and where it's tried to warp and snap. So, I mean, that's inevitable. It's going to happen, but it's not a nice feeling. That's faux shizzle. So I'm going to do one on the other side as well. Now, I actually think it's perhaps a little bit far back, but they can't. Ideally, it'd be where this cannon is. But obviously I can't do it through the cannon, so we're going to have it back here. Now, L'Orient was the flagship of the ships that took Napoleon's expedition to Egypt. It was the biggest French ship of the line. Well, I mean, alongside the Commerce de Marseille. It had, I believe, 120 guns, although I think it might have actually had 124 guns. And that's because there were some stern chasers. So those are cannons that you put at the back. If I remember correctly, they are all modelled on this ship. I'll have a look after I've drilled this. It was defeated at the Battle of the Nile by Horatio Nelson, who, it has to be said, the more I read about, the more impressed with him I am. That has gone shit. That has gone too much. There we are. Now, I've heard it go the first time. I heard it click. And I thought, oh, here we go. And now it snapped out entirely. That is a bit of an issue. That is, I'm not going to lie, a problem. I'm going to have to fix it with some green stuff. I'm not going to do that on camera. But that is not great. What I'm going to do while I'm here is I'm going to cut this bulwark down. Now it's battle damage. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to cut that bulwark down while I can. And then when we repair it, I'm going to have to repair it flat across here. Not thrilled about that. Hopefully, when I actually put the rigging on, it's going to cover it up, and you're not really going to see. But that's not great. Oh well, never mind. Onwards and upwards. There's no point in crying about it. Now here, actually looking at it, I'm not sure if this is printed properly. I'm wondering if there should be a rail that goes across here. If there is, that's not necessarily the end of the world, because I'll get some plastic card and glue that over there, and then I'll be able to put the lines coming down from here, probably to that one there, and then I'll be able to put them back up again. Nice bottoms, yeah. Have you cured them yet? Yes, I have cured them. Actually, that's a good point. Actually, to be fair, it might have been better to drill them first. The resin would have been a lot more pliable then. That's probably an excellent point, and that's something for me to learn next time. Now, I said to you earlier on, there are two downsides with printing the ships directly on the plate. The first one was that you get the little, because I did still put some supports on, so you get the little bits of plate on the front and the back of the ship. That's the least of the problems, because that cleaned off quite nicely. Speaking of battle damage, this is the second potential problem, and that is snapping the ship in half when you're trying to get it off the plate. Because it's down on all this surface area here, it adheres to the plate incredibly well. So it means that when you're trying to chip it off, you can, where there's a weak spot, as there is here, it's snapped in half. Now, this one came off okay. That one was fine. This one, however, snapped in half. Now, it's not necessarily the end of the world. It's a very, very clean break. So all I need to do is get a little dab of glue, and we should be able to glue this back together, he said. It's certainly an easier fix than that bow rail on L'Orient, that's for sure. That's going to take some serious modelling skill. So I'm in a lot of trouble. Let me just sort out my glue. Perfect for 2mm black powder games. Yeah, no, it would be cool. In fact, I have seen there's a Japanese company that do crew. And I'm not going to lie, I am very tempted, very, very tempted to buy some crew, because the problem is at this scale, they're just big enough that you'd be able to see them, and that upsets me. I hate having World War II vehicles that, like, you know, say I don't know, Marder's or SU 56s that don't have the crew in the back. Oh, that drives me absolutely mental. I hate it. This glue does not want to play ball at all. Oh, don't tell me it's dried out. Oh, I'm not having a very successful session with this one, am I, boys? Let me get something to catch this glue when it all splurts out, which it almost certainly will do. And I'll go back to my trusty hedge. What the dealio is going on here? I think it's still liquid inside. It feels it. No, maybe not. Right, let's try it here. Right, just bear with me 2 minutes, guys. I'm just going to go and get some... I was going to go and get some more glue. Hang on. Right, sorry about that. While I was down there as well, I grabbed some green stuff so we can repair that ship and we can be good to go. Now, I've recently started buying these small pots of glue. I get them from B&M, which is like a discount sort of hardware store. They're very good. They're 5 for £2.99, I think. £3, £3.99, something like that. But what I really like about them is when I invariably glue the lid on, because they're only small, I'm not actually wasting that much. So you're going some bright red-orange facings. Is that the Madder red? I know there's a few different types of red the Austrians had. Crab red is always my favourite one. Apparently it's named after crab apples, not the crustaceans, which is a bit of a shame. Missed opportunity there. So I get some glue on there. Nothing too drastic. I'll let that one start to go a bit tacky. And we'll pop that in there. Now this ship here, this is the Surprise. Now there's a bit of damage on that one there. Excuse me, which is not the end of the world. I can always sort that out with a little bit of green stuff. So there we go. Make sure that the glue hasn't splurged out the bottom, because that's going to stop it lying flat. Now I get 2 of my corks. I'll pop it on there, and it can dry there quite happily. I've actually got some bases from war bases for these ships. I'm wondering if my smaller ones fit these. They might be a little bit too big. Yeah, they're too big. So I want the bases to overhang the front enough that the bowsprit, the mast that sticks out the front of the ship, is going to be safe. So that's too small. But this one here is HMS Surprise. Those of you who have seen Master and Commander will know that it's not the not exactly the world's biggest ship. So the term master and commander is be on a smaller ship. This one I believe is a 5th rate, and the reason why you are master and commander is normally that is 2 roles on a larger ship, but because it's only a small ship, it doesn't have that big a crew. The master and the commander are the same person. So that's where the title of the film and the book come from. Right, so that was bad news. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that to one side to dry, and then I'm going to try my luck, at Le Commerce de Marseille. Let's see if I can not screw this one. In fact, I'm going to start the other side. This is the side I had problems with before. I'm putting it lower down this time, so hopefully that will stop the problem. Let's have a look. May have been a little bit cocky before as well. I might have gone a bit too fast. So I'll keep it nice and slow. So what's everyone else working on? I know Bub's working on his Austrians. I saw earlier on that someone was working on something else. Oh, the AB figures, or are they the Austrians? What's everyone else working on at the moment? Maybe not right now, but what's on your painting desk? I've also just sprayed up about 50 Fallschirmjäger as well, so I'm looking forward to chopping into those guys at some point. They are the Austrians. They're the AB ones. Yeah, no, AB are absolutely gorgeous figures. I saw someone post on Facebook today their Württembergers, and they were AB figures. They're absolutely gorgeous. I know a lot of people... He's done it again. I know a lot of people say they're 50 mil, but they're far more like 80 mil to me. But they are absolutely phenomenal figures. They really are nice. So once again, that has breached the wall there. So that's a little bit annoying. Now, ultimately, one of the good things about printing is I don't realistically have to repair this. I could quite happily just print another one. The amount of resin that this uses is next to nothing. But I'm too bloody minded for that. I'm too stubborn. So I'm going to have another go. I took finally finished those Carthaginians, Andrea. Oh, very nice. I should know better than to do horses. You know, that was the other option for today, was I thought about doing some horses. I've got some British generals that need painting. I was going to look at using contrast on their horses. But unfortunately, because I had to get the washing in and it started raining, I couldn't spray them in time, so they're not undercoated. So I'm counter rotating here. The idea is just to make a guide hole for the drill, and then we'll bring it back through here. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit annoyed by the resin breaking on the side of those walls. It's not very helpful at all, but there's not really much we can do about it. There's no point in getting angry. So let's see if we can improve on this one. Oh, it's really coming down out there now. I took a break from Black Powder, Portuguese and British to work on my Imperial Roman army. And I paint so many crossbows. I've got a Republican Roman army that I keep meaning to get around to. I've done it before a couple of times where I've got everything ready. I've got the figures out. I've got the paints I need. I've got my fresh water. I sit down. I'm ready to go. I pick up the sprue and I'm like, I can't be arsed these. And then I just have to pack them all away again. It's a shame because I really want a Republican Roman army. I just can't summon up the enthusiasm to paint one. Maybe it's because I've not found a set of rules that I think really... Now this one, the bowsprit is not glued in, so I'm going to take that one out for now. Maybe it's because I've not found a set of rules that I think really reflects the Republican Roman army yet. I don't know. We're working on some North Carolinians for American Civil War. Painting General Bonaparte on his camel for Brigade Games. Yes, I've got that model as well. He's a lovely model. Is that inspired by the film? So just do it nice and slowly. I'm not rushing it anymore. Let's just Turn it through there. Have you tried Saga? No, I haven't, although I have been looking at trying it because it's an option to take to Adepticon next year. Because it doesn't require that many models, particularly as I know last year, or rather earlier on this year, they did do an army like a Punic Wars era one, didn't they? Right. Ah, oh, blimey, Charlie. Let's get on with the fun bit now, which is going to be trying to repair the thing. I could probably do with some tweezers here, but oh, actually, no, I do have some. So let's see how that goes. So I'm just cutting off a very, very small bit of green stuff. I don't need much for this. Now, the reason I'm repairing it now, I don't necessarily need to. I could do it later, but it's going to be easier for when we're painting it. And also, I want to get it done, because if I know that there's damage to the vehicle, it'll be, well, the vehicle, and if there's damage to the model, then it'll give me an excuse not to finish it, and I don't want to have that. The film is definitely helping my painting motivation. That's good. That's good. These Carthaginian hoplites are anguishing in half-paintedness. The M. Yes, no, that gets you, doesn't it? So, let me see. Mark Forsyth, Infamy is another good rule. Okay, I don't know much about that one. I've heard of it, but that's pretty much all I've done with it. All the time with my armoured armies, for some reason, I'm never excited. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. I definitely recommend trying out Saga, and they do have a Punic age. Yes, I know they do. Yeah. I've also got a load of Normans as well, which I'm quite tempted to take for Saga. So that is that. Where are my tweezers? Where is my flapjack? There we are. All right. That's a Family Guy reference for you there. So what I'm going to do here is, first off, I am going to just use the brush to clear any debris. There we are. I'm going to have to do the same on L'Orient as well. Now, what I was going to do, actually, I was going to count the guns, wasn't I? Let's see. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Then we've got 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 41, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 52, 54, 56, 57. So 57 guns there. On the other side as well, that's 214 guns. There's obviously 6 guns that are hidden somewhere. Probably two bow chasers, maybe 2 stern chasers, and two other ones. So let's have a go at this. Now, I've torn off an absolutely tiny amount of green stuff, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to over make these, so they're going to look a bit silly, but there is method to my madness. Now, these are tilted a certain way. So, let's get that on here. Now, I'm going to try and make it flat on the top, but I'm not too worried about it bulging out of the sides. And the reason for that is I can trim it down after it has dried. But this is why I'm using the tweezers. I want to squeeze it so it goes around the scuppers like so. Okay, that's good. That's good. Happy with that. Now, it's gone down a little bit between the cannons there. That was always going to happen. Let me dive in there. Push that out. Sorry, what I meant to say earlier on, sorry, is not that I was going to get it flat. I'm not too bothered about that. I need to get the width. Right, now what I'm actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill the entire area. This is me doing this on the fly with green stuff, and I'll drill through the green stuff at a later date when the green stuff is dried, and then we can take it from there. Oh, blimey, Charlie. This is really not worth the effort. So, there we go. So, I'm going to leave that there to dry now. Now, it's not gone perfectly in there, but it doesn't matter too much, because it's going to be mostly obscured by the lines anyway. So I'm going to trim it down with a knife after it's dried a little bit more. And then we are good to go. So I'm going to fill that gap there. That's done. Now, this is also, you know, I mean, with these ships, they weren't that expensive because I printed them. But it's good if you, you know, if it is quite an expensive model, it's good to know that even if you do make a mistake, even if it does get damaged, then you can still repair it. It's not the end of the world. And I'll bung this in there. So this is Le Commerce de Marseille, sister ship of the Oriole. It ended up being captured by the British and then used as a brig for housing prisoners of war, which seems to be a bit of a waste of such a absolutely magnificent beast. But, oh, well, never mind. I'm sure the British Admiralty knew what they were doing. There we go. So this is what I was planning on doing with the other one, but I didn't actually use enough green stuff to show you. Is I've just squeezed it to the sides, and it sticks up here. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to let it cure, and I'm just going to get a very sharp knife, and I'm just going to run it across there, and that's going to level that off. Now, what I do need to do, though, is this one is a very blunt knife. It's quite old. The housing started peeling off, and I keep this around for scraping and using as a bit of a tool like this. If it's too sharp, I'm just going to cut into the putty, and I'm not going to actually be able to move it around and manipulate it. And as it is, because it's quite blunt, I can move that around there, go back in with the tweezers, and just, there we are. Get that square. Get it square at the top here. Not that it really matters, but there we are. So that one there, that's a running repair. And then when it's mostly cured, I'll drill through the green stuff. Hopefully that will be okay. Now the ship that snapped in half, that also had a little bit of damage at the bottom. That's no problemo for me and my trusty green stuff. So it was over here. And all we'll do is get a ball, stuff it in, giggity, and then we'll leave it like that. As I said, this knife is quite blunt, but it shouldn't matter too much, because we just run it along there, like so. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be pretty down there, because that's on the bottom, so we're not going to see it anyway. And then sweep it back here. There we are. Remember, if you're doing this knife, this is a knife, but it's not sharp. So don't do this with a sharp knife, because you'll cut your fingers to ribbons, and it won't even give you the result you want anyway. So don't do this with a sharp knife. Use a blunt one. There we go. Just to get that manipulated into there. Job's a good one. And be careful running it along the bottom too much, because you don't want to do what I've just done and pull the whole thing out of place. There we are. So once again, I'll let that dry, and then I will clean that up with a bit of knife. Yes, Martin, we've gone naval for today. I thought we'd try something a little bit different. So that is that so far. Now we come to the bit that I was actually most worried about. I was even more worried about this than I was drilling out the scuppers, which just goes to show what I don't know what I'm talking about. Which is gluing it to the painting handle. Now I'm not going to use the G-Dub butt plug. TM, I'm going to drill into here. Now, one of the problems is I didn't hollow these models out. What I could have done, and probably should have done, is hollow out the model and then put a hole in the middle here, which would then print with a hole in. I wouldn't have to do any of this drilling. I'd just be able to bung it straight through the hole, and I would have used less resin as well. But I wasn't, I mean, for the amount of resin I've actually used, I didn't mind too much. So it should be okay. And it seems to be taking the drill quite well. Would it be good if they had included a sea battle in Lord of the Rings movies? Yeah, that would have been cool. I'm not sure if Tolkien does much sea battle stuff, to be honest. I know he's more of a sort of Anglo-Saxon, isn't he? He's actually known for their sea battle goodness. Now, as you can see here, that hole is quite far off centre. That is certainly not a planned thing, but it's not necessarily the end of the world, because I can always bend the paper clip on the holder to make sure that it is in the center. So that's not a problem at all. So there we go. I've drilled a reasonable bit in there. It doesn't need to be all the way through or anything. And let's get a little dibble dabble, do ya, on there. So it doesn't need too much glue. Sling that in there. And that's probably going to need some support while it dries. You don't want to put too much glue on, because the more glue you put on, the harder it's going to be to get off again. So you absolutely don't want to put too much glue on. Let me support these here. Now these, as you can tell, are homemade. They are just, as I said before, they're just wine bottle corks, which I bought from again, it's like a hardware shop sort of, called Wilkinson's. They sell them. So it's just a load of them glued to a 2p piece with a paper clip stuck in the top. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to support it fore and aft, but I think I've probably put it on the tallest cork, which is going to mean that the others can't really support it. Let's have a look. There we go, he said. I might stick a little bit more glue on there later. I'll leave that there for now. Now, I also printed, I should say, I told you on a bit of a one, I printed these, which are, I want to say they're French again, but they might actually be British. These are 92 gunners, so again, they are potentially second rates, maybe not first rates. Big old boys, though, that's for sure. Do we have a Lord of the Sharp update? Need any help playtesting? You know what? To be honest, I've been so busy, I've not really had much chance to work on it for a while. But yes, certainly when I do release a document, it will be very much a open for people to playtest and give me feedback on. We've played a lot of Lord of the Rings, so I do know Lord of the Rings quite well. But it's about how well it translates to Napoleonics. I think it works okay, but I'd be very interested to get other people's thoughts and opinions as well. Because, yeah, I'm sure you guys will have seen things that I've missed, or opportunities I've not taken, or rules, interactions that don't quite work as well. Now, these ones, I printed the bowsprits with the sails attached. So these should be a little bit easier. I glue them on there. In fact, I will do that now. So as I say, these are also big old boys. I think they're first raters, but if someone were to say no, they're second raters, I probably wouldn't disagree with them. So that one goes on there. Now I've resisted printing the sails because they look a little bit plain, but I have seen a file that has them with all the little ropes hanging down from them and stuff, which makes them look way cooler. So I might end up getting those. They're not quite expensive though. They're about I think they're $12.99 for a set of sails, which seems a little bit excessive. But you know, if I'm doing lots of different ones, I suppose, then it's all relative, isn't it? The Siege of Pelagar would have been epic with the dead routing the Corsair fleet. Well, there you go. See, Dan is the Lord of the Rings master. If there's anything Lord of the Rings, Dan will know about it far more than me. Black Seas, but every time there's boarding action, you play Skirmish Game Sharp practice. Yeah, that'd be cool. Or Lord of the Sharp, for that matter. So I've had the parts to do some British Marines for absolutely ages. I've just not got around to doing them yet. Let me put a little bit more glue on there. Pop that on there. Just noticed as well, I could probably do with a little bit more on there. Just bear with me 2 seconds, guys. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I heard someone sneaking into my house. It turned out to be my brother, so that's not too bad. I don't think he's come to murder me. He might do. If suddenly you go quiet, then he's murdered me. So there you go. That's not really much more I can say to that, is it? It's say we got to see. It's say we got to see Indiana Jones. So maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Where are we? Black Seas. Oh, we've done that one. We need to find Austrians in great coats. Apparently, everyone loves to paint white. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who does not love Austrians in their dress uniforms? How big do you want your fleet to be? Well, the Royal Navy. Yeah, the same size as the Royal Navy. No, to be honest, the problem is with ships. The more I've looked into them, it really is a rabbit hole down which you can go and never emerge. I mean, the Royal Navy alone must have had hundreds of ships, and that's before we even get into things like Indiaman and other merchant ships, and before we get into things like the ships that were on the Great Lakes, the brigs, all the unrated ships, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. This battle for Macau had I think it was 6 British ships, and was it? I think it was either 5 and 7, with the French outnumbering the British, or 6 and 8. I can't quite remember. It was one of those two numbers, and that seemed like a reasonable sized engagement. So before, obviously, we just had the one ship or 2 ships against 3 British. So this one seems a little bit bigger, but not too crazy big. Opinion of brush lickers. I am a brush licker, so I can't say anything. I love licking my brushes, which, given that I've just used one to sweep away some resin, is probably not the best, probably not the best thing in the world. So I shall try and avoid licking that one until I've given it a good wash out. So having successfully put the L'Orient onto its painting handle, I'm trying the same with the Commerce de Marseille, and then I think we're probably going to have to knock it on the head, I'm afraid. This one here is sorry, I should say that the L'Orient looks pretty cool. It looks like it's like the Flying Dutchman or something at the moment. I should say as well that I picked up the Hold Fast supplement for Black Seas when I was in Derby. So that's another thing that's driven me towards the madness of doing some naval. Did the Royal Marines ever board enemy ships? I believe so. I mean, that was kind of the point of them. So certainly at Trafalgar and the Nile and the Glorious First and Cape St. Vincent, and basically any battle in which there was some hot boarding action, then I would imagine that the bootnecks were at the foremost. And as I say, that was really it was one of their jobs. Their other main job was to stop the crew from murdering the captain. But yes, no, they were also there to do boarding actions and stuff like that. I'm only half joking about them stopping the crew from murdering the captain as well. Their quarters are between the main gun decks, and even on modern ships, it's between the gun decks and the captain's cabins at the back, or the officers' cabins at the backs, and that is to be a literal barrier between any mutinous crew and the officers at the back. So, which is why in the modern ships they man, I'm fairly sure it's X and Y turrets, which are the back 2 turrets on a ship. So yeah, that's traditionally where they're quartered, and that's kept alive in the naval tradition today. Nah. Why are you falling over? Don't fall over. That would make me very hobby sad. And I'm hobby sad already. There we go. We'll let that dry a second. I mean, the Marines were strictly kept from mingling with the crew, just not to form friendships. Well, exactly. Yeah. Thought it was just a 1 turret. Okay, yeah, it could be. Yep. I'm certainly no naval expert. I wouldn't be foolish enough to claim to be. Right, let's see. What time is it? It is 5:07. There is time for one final thing, and I wanted to do this live on stream because I've spent quite a while doing it, and I've never done it before. So let's do something live on stream for the first time. What could go wrong? Now, these here are Ratline spacers. So what they are, a rat line is a thing that you climb up to get up to the masts. So I listened to much Drachenfels. Yeah. Oh, I love Drachenfels. It's a great novel. In fact, I was talking to someone about that the other day. Now we're going to need a sharp knife for this. Ooh, reach behind me. Let's hope this is sharp. Oh dear. Yeah, it looks sharp. And what we're going to do is I've got my pre-rigged ship. What I'm actually, sorry, before I do anything, I'm actually going to move. So let me slide over. Let me bring this. I don't want to move the ship because it's currently drying. So if the mountain won't go to Mohammed, Mohammed must go to the mountain. So there we are. Now this one here is going to be the main one. So this leads from the mainmast down here. So what I've done is I've interlaced them and then got a paper clip with some super glue on and just dabbed it at the joins here. So I'm hoping that when I cut this off, it will be nice and firm, but I don't know until I cut it. So let's find out together. You can now you can now print these, which seems to be a much better way of doing it. But let's see. Dear, it looks like some might not have been glued properly. I'll cut it off at the top, at the bottom. Now they should just pop out. Let's see. Oh, wait, bugger. No, I don't think that's. Oh, hang on, maybe. Oh dear, no, it's not looking. Not looking good. Hang on. Is it still trapped? It should just fall out, really. There we go. All right. No, it's not quite glued as well as I'd hoped. So I might need to go back and glue the others. But I should be able to show you the rough basics of it. Oh, no, hang on, there we are. So there we are. You can see it's kind of worked. The middle rungs here haven't glued, so that's a shame. And the way that would have gone on, I'm not going to glue this on because it's not good enough, quite frankly. I'm going to need to do another one. It glues onto there, to the fighting top, and then you would glue it on here, and then tidy it up with some clippers. So that's a little bit disappointing. I was hoping for better results than that, but that's okay. That's my own issue. I can go back and sort that out at a later date. But unfortunately, try water PVA. Yeah, I certainly could have done that actually. That probably would have been a better idea, and I may do that with the rest of them. So as you can see, I've cut that one out, but I've still got one on the other side. I've still got all these as well. So I think, as Paul suggests, I just saw the old horror films where the calls coming from inside the house, the comments coming from inside the house. But unfortunately, with that rather downbeat ending, I'm going to have to knock it on the head there, I'm afraid. I'm going to quickly run back through the comments, see if there's any missed. Looking at these, all my planned fleet of small ships are going to get eaten up in a line battle. Well, you know, they don't necessarily have to fight ships of the line. These are particularly big ones. As I say, I've got the surprise here. That's only got, what, 3, 5, is that a gun back there? Probably. So 6, 9, 12, 15. So that's only got 32 guns on it. So that's only a little one. But with that, I'm going to call it a day there. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a bit of a weird episode, this one. A bit bitty. Something a little bit different. But yeah, no, it's been interesting. Thank you for sticking with me. I know naval's something that's not necessarily as popular as, you know, they're doing all the land battles, but I think the ships look absolutely fantastic, and the game looks like a really interesting game as well. So I'm looking forward to having some more goes at it. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to call it a day there. Thank you for watching. Let's just have a quick look at what we have got. So that's the other one. And then we've got the Orion there with a couple more in the background. There's also, you can see I've also been printing, just very quickly. My love of Poles extends to the Renaissance era as well. That is a, oh, why did I pick up the one that's broken? There we go. That's a Polish winged hussar who is not broken, so he's looking very nice. But thank you very much, and I shall see you guys next time.